Cipriani Frank Norville of Montfortune Castries passed away at Victoria Hospital on Wednesday, 8th April 2015 at the age of 70 years. Left to mourn his common-law wife, Miss Mary Flavier, principal of the Dennery Infant School, and her son, Jonathan Flavier, and family. His children, Lyndall Norville, employed of C.O. Williams Construction Limited, Timothy Norville, employed of Ministry of Agriculture, April Brown Kemp, residing in the Bahamas, Jessie Lee Norville, residing in London, England. His grandchildren, Giovannia Kemp and Javon Kemp Jr. of Bahamas, Cipriani Tafari Norville and Leonardo Xavier Norville, Amaris Jessie Norville. Daughters-in-law, Valerie Avis King Norville, employed at the Hunter for Swan Library at Arthur Lewis Community College. Lassa Williams Norville, employed of Beachcomber Limited. Son-in-law, Javon Kemp. Sisters, Mrs. Beryl Marcelin of Sanssouci Castries, Mrs. Agatha Wall of Barbados. Nieces and nephews, Mrs. Ral Hippolyte of Sanssouci Castries, Mrs. Wendy Marriage J. and Wen Wall of Barbados, Miss Janet and Margaret Riviere, Mrs. Sandra Haynes, Mrs. Caroline Straker, Mr. Bertram Riviere, all residing in the U.S. Cousins, Mr. Percival MacDonald and family, Mr. Lester John and family, Mrs. Sonia O'Neill and family of Soufrière, Mr. Peter Norville and family of Corinth, Mrs. Norma Gustave and family of Sanssouci, Mrs. Gloria Griffith and family of Marisil, Mrs. Pauline Maida and family of Sunny Acres, Mr. Robert Kulut and family, Mrs. Vera Kulut and family of the UK. Other relatives and friends, Miss Linda Mondesi née Jeremy and family, employed of Computer World, Bois de Wange, Mrs. Jean Sweetnam Brown and family, Miss Jennifer Hippolyte née Worrell and family, Joanne Camille and Keela Jules of Barbados, Mrs. Catherine Flavier, also known as Tita of Dennery, Mrs. Leah Comby, also known as Auntie Leah of Victoria Street, Dennery, the Flavier family of Lower Rocky Lane, Dennery, Miss Gabriella St. Paul and family of Monrepo, the Flavier, Joseph and Chico families of Montedon, Castries, the Gajada family of Vigi, the Elva family. Close friends, Gandalf St. Clair and family, Norman Charlemagne and family, Augustine Julian and family, Hilary Laforce and family, Eugene Seeley and family, Vincent Cyrus, Eugene and family, Patrick Prince and family, Horace Bissett and family, Johnny Neptune and family, Eddie Gard and family, caretakers, Curtis Charles, Shaheen Norbert. Also left to mourn, Mr. and Mrs. Fevrier and the staff and students of the Marcia Combined School, the staff of the Dennery Infant School, the Venezuelan Embassy and staff, the School of Music and staff, the bus drivers on the 2C route and fishermen on the Dennery, Daitu, les desserts traditionnels de cette lycée, dessert folklore, Jeux Dennery, and the cultural group and flower societies that he inspired throughout the island and overseas, the residents of Frank L. Johnson Avenue and Burma Lane, and the Montfortune environs. The funeral service of Cipriani Frank Norville will be held at the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in Castries on Saturday, May 2nd at 2 p.m. Then the body will be cremated at Rambali's Crematorium, Latuni Vieux-Fort. The general public is encouraged to attend in traditional or cultural wear. The family would appreciate if persons deceased from wearing black and do not bring any wreaths. Instead, a collection will be taken in honor of the School of Music and Folk Research Center. Well-wishers are kindly asked not to wear black but national and traditional colors to the funeral.